All right. Looking forward to getting the guys back in today and get rolling on this this opponent. The more tape you watch, the more respect you have for them. They've had an incredible season so far, and they're really sound. They're really talented, really well coached across the board. So we'll have our work cut out for us, but challenge we'll look forward to. So I'll go ahead and open it up from there.
You guys mentioned, I think maybe as far back as training camp, that there was a lot of Matthew Stafford that you wanted Caleb to watch and emulate. What specifically about that, and how have you seen that go?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's fundamentally sound, and so when you talk about the footwork, I think it starts there with him. But then as you talk about an experienced player that sees the field really well, he understands defenses, he knows how to manipulate defenses. He's got a great feel for the game, and that translates to everything he does every single week. They're very much a premier play operation. They get into really good football plays against whatever defense that you're into, and that's a credit to the head coach and play caller, obviously, but also Matthew has a lot to do with that because he's got complete control of everything that's going on, and so it's no wonder that they're scoring so many points that they are right now.
When you want a young player to watch film of a veteran, do you connect the two at all, or did you put Matt in touch with Caleb?
No, nothing like that. But certainly admire Matthew from afar, and knowing him for a couple seasons firsthand, I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him.
Then how would you evaluate the state of your run game the last 3 weeks, especially?
Yeah, it feels like it's dipped a little bit. Not something that we certainly want. Certainly late in the season, we wanted that to pick up. Playoffs, weather games like this, you certainly want to be able to lean on your run game. So those are some elements we're looking at. What can we do to help ignite that? Is both efficient runs to stay on track and ahead of the chains, and also explosive runs as well. Where can we find a few of those? I'll say this: we got a really tough opponent in that regard. I think they do a really good job. I think the front is their strength. These guys at the line of scrimmage are really good football players. I think they shed blocks at an elite level. I think they are relentless. I think they're violent, really across the board. So I have a lot of respect for them, and we're going to have to be on our A game to be able to run it on this crew.
What are the challenges their front seven present in terms of pressure, quarterback?
Yeah, I think that's the other thing that jumps off the tape is being able to maintain the depth and the width of the pocket is going to be quite a challenge as well. Verse is one of the more violent edge players I've seen on tape so far this year. He does a great job. Turning speed into power. He'll take a tackle, go right down the middle of them, and take him right onto the lap of the quarterback. The interior, they are, like I said, relentless. I think that's almost not only talented, but just the fact that they do it play in and play out, and they don't take any plays off. That makes it very difficult because you got to bring it every single snap. You can't have any lapses up front, or else they'll make you pay. Whether it's Turner or Fisk at the 3 technique. Poona Ford's playing high-level football, a little bit more in the running game than the passing game, but yet he's a problem for you, And so, I can't say enough good things about the level with which they're playing up front right now.
Then Sean McVay was talking about what he studied from your offense. What have you studied from him? What have you gleaned from his offense?
Well, yeah, I think my history has been obviously with Jared Goff, and Jared started with Sean, and so there was a lot of comfort that Jared had from his time with Sean that we looked to, accentuate there in Detroit, and so that was one of the pillars of our playbook were some of those concepts from LA, and also augmenting it with some of the stuff that I had been around, that Coach Campbell had been around, and the rest of the offensive staff, and so it's a marriage of a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah, I've watched a ton of LA tape over the years, obviously when Jared was there, and then that's continued since Matthew's been there as well.
And ahead of the draft a couple of years ago, did you have any interaction with or do much homework on Nacua?
No. He was. I wasn't coaching receivers at the time, and so it wasn't on my radar.
When you see what he's become, how do you describe what makes him such a problem?
Yeah, well, I think you look at a guy like that, I think it starts with this guy is a football player. Take position out of it, and he clearly loves the game. He clearly is all about ball. He reminds me a lot of St. Brown, another guy that I felt very similar about, because he's not just excellent at catching the football and route running, but he does everything. He's willing to put his nose in there and get his hands dirty in the running game. The versatility with which he has. He's in the box, inserting through the B and C gaps, not only to block, but to run routes. Physical player, tough player, and you can tell a really dependable player as well.
Stafford's numbers against the blitz are pretty good this year. How do you sort of pick your spots?
I think his numbers versus everything's pretty good this year. He's playing at an MVP level, and I think that's going to be our challenge, right? We gotta have guys step up here this week, both up front and on the back end, to make things as difficult as we possibly can for them. And so whether that's bring pressure, whether that's play coverage, and depend on our front four to get after them, it's one of those things where it's going to take everybody. It's going to take our defense playing good football for 60 minutes, and it's going to take our offense being able to keep up with an offense of this caliber as well.
Is there anything you take away? They got into a shootout last week, or at least like a late game rally where they had to fight off the Panthers. I know you guys have done this now 7 different times this season. Is there any parallels between how they've had to win some of these tight games, or anything that you use as far as game planning, like to what you guys have done too?
Yeah, I don't know about that necessarily. I think we're more focused on ourselves in terms of we don't want to put ourselves in a hole against a team like this, like we've done a number of times this year. I think we need to, we talk about playing a complete game on offense. Like, this is the week that needs to happen for us to be able to beat this team.
When you gave Montez the game ball, you said you just kind of felt him in the game. Going back and watching the film, what did you like about what he was able to do?
Yeah, well, I think he's a guy that we count on, and I know the sack numbers is what everybody looks at when it comes to edge rushers, and he's at double digits. He's played really good football in that regard, but as I've told him, as the years gone along, for me it's not just the sacks, it's also the pressures and the quarterback hits. And so when you're watching from the sideline and you're feeling him affecting the quarterback a different type of way, I do think that's really important. So he stepped up. I felt like that since the bye week. He's playing really good in the running game. That gets overlooked. But also in the passing game, I felt him get after the quarterback a little bit more. So when you combine that with a guy like Booker on the other side, who I think continues to ascend, I think it gives us a pretty good chance.
It seemed like
When you
Booker-
watch the game back, what did you notice about Caleb's deep ball delivery in the fourth quarter? I think there were 8 passes of 15 yards or more, just like his accuracy in those moments, being willing to take those shots. What stood out?
Shoot, I'd have to go back and look at each one back to back to back. Yeah, I know he hit a number of those that explosive plays there in the fourth quarter, which we needed. We were struggling to move the ball and score points through those 3 quarters, and so that last quarter, like I said a couple days ago, we broke through that dam and we're able to find a way to get some touchdowns there at the end. And if we don't have the defense getting us the ball back as quickly as they did, combined with Caleb making some of those throws, I don't know that we closed the deficit like we did.
And it seems like there's been some random shotgun snap issues lately. Have you been able to pinpoint exactly why that happens? Do sometimes centers, go through a slump or something like that, just in terms of the accuracy of the snap? Yeah,
well, it's something that I think every team has to work through, and so you're hopeful at this time of year that you feel pretty good about the consistency of that. But yeah, a couple of those popped up. Nothing that I'm going to lose sleep over, though. I got a lot of confidence in Drew and Caleb both being able to get that connection right.
Ben, you guys have had a lot of these emotional wins. Did you sense anything different from the group because it happened in the playoffs? And for a lot of them, that was a first.
Yeah, well, I think they've handled it really well, and I think we're going to do a good job here shifting the focus, starting our work week just like we've been doing each and every week. And that's really what it comes down to, is you can't let a win or a loss linger for too long. And that's our job as coaches, to make sure we have the right mindset going into the week. And I keep saying it every week, it feels like, but our veteran leadership, they're phenomenal. I don't know if I've been around it quite at this level before, just week in and week out, you know that they have a good pulse for the locker room, and their message is going to be really what our team needs to hear.
To the topic of veteran leadership, how have you felt Grady this year and even recently in that regard?
Yeah, well, I think he is wired the way we want our entire team wired. I felt that from his first press conference here all the way up until now. And, you know, we hit that little hiatus, if you will, early in the season where he's working through his injury. And so his impact probably isn't quite as pronounced as it was in the offseason or where it is now. Like, I feel it. These young players are coming along. They're developing. And I think his playoff experience and really these big games that he's been a part of throughout his career, I do think that translates and really hits home with a lot of our guys.
And what's it like coaching Caleb in big moments, and what have you learned about his poise?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you need to say to him on the sideline. You know, we just make sure we're on the same page in terms of what the situation is and what we need to accomplish and how quickly we need to accomplish it. But beyond that, he doesn't. It's not like he needs a pep talk or a rah rah or anything like that. He's ready to go, and been saying it all along. He rises to the occasion time and time again. It's really impressive to see a young player like this be so clutch.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Phone's on silent.
There we go.
That's
How much of a fine?
$100 fine, easy.
Kevin, what are the challenges Matthew Stafford presents for your defense?
I mean, as long as he's playing in this league, I think he's playing probably the best football, probably of his career. He'll probably say that. I think he's just very confident within the scheme what Sean McVay is doing, playing at a very high level. Obviously, he has a top two, probably not two receiver in the league right now, Puka Nacua, who's playing at a very high level. Devontae Adams, still Devontae Adams. Their run game is humming as well. It's the reason why they're the number one offense in this league this year. But Matt Stafford presents a lot of challenges with, obviously, the arm talent's there. He throws probably one or two no-look passes a game as well. He's just a very talented quarterback that's been in this league a long time, seen a lot. It's been a lot of, high-pressure games. And you even watched the last week, Carolina, that last drive when he needed to go score. I mean, he just drove right down the field and was just operating at a high level. So huge challenge for us this weekend as a defense.
When you watch Puka on film, what strikes you about, one, the versatility, and then two, the volume? How much attention you give?
Yeah, I would just say that he does everything. They throw him screens. Intermediate routes, deeper routes. His hands is incredible. I mean, even the one-handed catch he almost made against the Falcons, that would have been special. But also, he's a willing blocker. I mean, they're sending him in there to dig out the safeties, which, most number one receivers aren't really doing that like that. So it's just the toughness that I see from him. And he's one of those guys that, like, as a running back, like, they get better and better the more volume, more touches they get. So I expect for them to feed him as much as possible. So we're going to have to know where he is on every snap.
What about Devontae Adams? Is it so much as him being a technician? Is it his speed? Like, what is it about defending Devontae?
It's the technician. I think it's, I think when you look at the best route runners in the league, they make all their routes look the same. Whether they're running a 5-yard hitch route, a go ball, a comeback at 15 yards, it all looks like they're going vertical. And I think that's the toughest thing. And he's so good at the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's the reason why, inside the 5-yard line, he has all these touchdowns because if Matt Stafford sees him one-on-one, he trusts that he's going to get a good release, going to get open, and he's going to put the ball where he needs to be. So he's still one of the top receivers in his league. So, like I said, that's why I think we have a huge challenge with the guys they have on the outside, but also their run game. As much as Sean McVay likes going big personnel with 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, but they're still throwing the ball. I mean, Kobe Parkinson is a really big target in the middle. They throw screens to him. So a lot of things we got to defend against this offense.
What's the biggest difference?
Plenty of these crazy emotional wins this season, but probably done more than last week. What's the key to kind of recalibrating, locking back in after that with another game looming?
Yeah, it's just one of those things about the playoffs. It's like anytime you win the playoffs, it's always going to be emotional. It's going to be a great win, especially when you're playing at home. But you equally, as much as you were on the high end, you got to reset immediately because all these teams we're playing are great teams. We got the potential, more than likely, league MVP coming in town. We can't be thinking about Green Bay anymore. As fun as that was, it's a whole new week. We're trying to be 1-0 this week. We have to prepare as much as we possibly can to try to go beat this team because that's what playoff football is about. You can't be worried about the last week because at the end of the day, this is a win-or-go-home game as well. So I think the focus would definitely be always on the Rams this week for sure.
Learn that with the Titans.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just like any other game in the year where it's like you're trying to be 1-0, but it's just super highly elevated now because at the end of the day, there's a real thing of having the emotional, the physical high that we were just on. You just have to be very good of just flushing everything immediately and getting ready for the next opponent.
What have you learned in your playing career about just tricks for your body to feel better when it's super cold, the way it's going to be Sunday?
I haven't played in the city this cold, but I think
a couple of weeks ago, right?
No, we have, but I think it's more about I think our body's very acclimated to it now. I think Ben has been doing a good job of making us practice in this cold weather with no heat, no heaters on the field, which has been a complaint for the most part for a lot of guys. But I think in these scenarios, in this time of the year, you're kind of looking back on it. It's like, hey, man, it actually might be good that we didn't have any heaters because our body's going to be fully acclimated to this weather. Obviously, we talk about the Cleveland game, all these other cold games we've been in. It's going to be nothing for us to go out there and operate in the cold weather. Now, is that going to make a huge difference for the Rams? who knows? I know for a fact that we got guys on this team that obviously everybody's not from Illinois. People from Florida, Texas, whatever it be, they don't like being in the cold. So, maybe it'll affect them as well.
Brady
What are the
said
markers
he
that's
felt,
unique
Brady
about-
said he felt like the defense played a little timid in the first half. Did you see it the same way, and how do you change that when it is another do or die situation to not have that same approach early?
Yeah, I think just like the aggressiveness of us on defense, I think maybe it was I think guys was playing hard. I don't think it was a situation where we weren't playing hard. I think we tried to play physical. I think a couple calls we had where something that we practice all the time or something that I think 9 times out of 10 we were kind of letting Christian Watkins get free on these flat routes and stuff like that. We weren't really on. I think on the one touchdown that Jaden Reed had, I think it was a good call by Matt LaFleur, honestly. I think they caught us in a good coverage where they kind of got the mismatch on Tremaine, and he was able to kind of sit and then wheel back up. So I think it was a good play. I think also coming out of halftime, just the aggressive style that we were playing. I think DA was calling a lot of blitzes, right? If it was blitz on the edges with the corners and the DBs, and I think we was getting more pressure on Jordan Love as well. So I think it's a combination of those things, but I don't want to question the guys of not playing hard and stuff. I think we were playing hard. I think just the style of how we played and also how DA was calling the game, we were just a little bit more aggressive.
What have you noticed about Sean McVay's offenses that are unique? Like, how does he consistently get people open?
I think, well, for one, I think his run game is unique, kind of almost similar to Shanahan and also even Ben, where they're doing so much as far as their personnel, moving them around a lot of different places, and they're creating angles in the run game, but also getting your eyes kind of off where they're shifting the guy here, but then they're bringing the tight end this way, but then the run is going this way, and then it's wheeling back, where it's kind of getting guys out of place, and they're able to get downhill. And, every run might not hit for 20 yards, but it's 4 or 5, 6, they're getting positive yards every time. I think that's very unique. But then also, just with the pass game, the different versatility of Puka, line Devontae Adams in a lot of different places, and also using tight ends. I think, Ben's kind of been doing this all year, but I think it's a reason why you like to have 2 tight ends out there, sometimes 3, because it changes our personnel as a defense. You go 3 tight ends, you want to go big base personnel, put more linebackers to stop the run. And then when you have guys that can get down the field as far as tight ends that can run routes and get open in the middle of the field, it creates mismatches. So I just think just the versatility of all the things you have to defend and be ready for as a defense as you prepare throughout the week. And then as you get into game day, they might throw a wrinkle in there. It was like, we haven't seen this. So I think they just do a really good job of being mixing up what they like to do on any given week.
You guys have talked a lot. Can I ask one more question? Sorry.
Swing to the podium right now, and Montez Sweat's outside.
Perfect.
Montez Sweat's in the midway if you want.
I would say.
Go ahead.
Is there something about this scheme that really fits kind of like what you like to do? Like, why has this season been so positive over the course of the last 18 games now?
Definitely the scheme and everything. Ben and the coaches have been drilling as far as details and things like that. Play style with the O-line, how they work together, and just us as backs, with me personally being on my details and my execution, being where I need to be when I need to be there. Definitely the scheme, and then the way that they're coaching it as well. Yeah.
Ben was saying production. Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. Sorry. For you guys, what is the key, you think, to turning the page from the emotions of winning a playoff game that way? And for a lot of these guys, that was the first.
Yeah, that was an emotional game, but it's over with. And we know that. Emotions was high, especially the way the game ended. But like I said, that's over with. And I feel like everybody in this building, as far as players and coaches, know that. And we have a great task at hand this week coming up on Sunday. Got a great opponent that's coming in. So we can't really dwell on last week. Great to be a part of it, but we got to turn the page, and we're going to do that today.
Ben was saying production in the run game has dipped a little bit over the last few weeks. What do you think some of the causes of that have been?
I know last week, playing a team for 3 times is tough in itself, but they did a lot of things defensively to kind of put us in a bind, I would say. And in games like that, I feel like you need to run the ball. You need to be efficient in the run game. So when you're not efficient coming out of it, you always look at different ways to kind of and it's good that we got the win so we can kind of correct those things this week. We got to get back on track.
Andrew, what stands out about their defensive line?
They've been phenomenal all year. I feel like that's the strength of their defense. I would say, in my opinion, them guys up front, man, they get after it, relentless. Like I said, we got our work cut out for us, and we know that. We got to be on our P's and Q's offensively. We got to execute the right way. We got to be detailed every single play. It's a great group up there.
You guys have the second highest explosive run rate in the NFL. What do you think has been the key to generating that this season?
Like he asked, the scheme, I would say, and then just them guys up front, how they're playing, how they're gelling together, the communication up front with the looks that we're getting, they're making it right. They're getting us as backs to the second and third level where we can go ahead and showcase our God-given abilities, which positions that we want to be in. But Ben, coaching staff, how they implement the details that's involved in every single play, and it's a lot of them. So they're doing a great job up front and the coaching staff.
Some of that, I mean, it sounds as simple as like just getting the yards before contact to be able to generate those runs.
Oh, most definitely. Anytime as a back, I feel like when I'm able to pick up speed and make things happen, good things happen.
You only had a year with Stafford, but what was that experience like for you playing with Matt Stafford in Detroit?
Oh man, I call him the GOAT. That's my guy right there. When I got into the league, he was the first person to reach out to me. Going to Detroit, first guy I worked out with. A ton of respect for him, how he goes about his business. He's been doing it at a high level for so long. Can't say enough great things about him. He's a true warrior. He's one of the greats.
Obviously wins matter more, but for you to put up the numbers that you've hit this year, what does that mean? Like, how do you kind of categorize that, especially after last year where you were kind of vocal about that you weren't very happy with it?
Yeah, and I'll be like, I always say this, like when the team is having success, wins, and I feel like individual success comes after that. Just being blessed to have multiple opportunities to go ahead and contribute to that. When we're winning, I feel like I'll be a part of that in some aspect, and that shows in, I guess, play this year. You know what I mean?
Andrew, your catch and run right before the touchdown.
Yeah.
In that moment, could you tell there was a coverage bust that you were like when the ball's coming to you? Do you know that you have a lot of space in that moment, or did you have to kind of catch and turn?
That moment I kind of like went to the left a little.
On the sideline, yeah.
For
DJ's touchdown.
I thought you were talking about mine. I'm sorry. Yes, when I know the DN didn't go out with me, I was hoping I got the ball fast and was able to make a explosive play. Caleb did a good job of getting me the ball with a little bit of space and was able to get a first down. Yeah.
DeAndre, when Ben said that when Jared Goff first got to Detroit, they modeled some of the offense from Sean McVay to make Jared more comfortable. Do you remember that? And the similarities, you even see similarities now between Sean McVay's offense and the offense you're running now.
I'm not in Sean McVay's offense to really know. I don't compare this offense to Detroit or anything that got going on in LA. I think Ben did a good job of knowing his personnel here and then implementing that and seeing what we do well. I would say that.
DeAndre, go ahead.
But he said he adopted some for Jared Goff's comfort at the time.
So you asking me if I remember what they adopted for Jared Goff?
I mean,
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. What you asking? To an extent, yeah, to an extent. But I don't really remember the exact things that went on. You know what I mean? But I feel like they do a good job here, knowing the personnel here and calling the plays that we do well. Yeah.
DeAndre, Darnell was telling me how much more demanding Caleb has become. Yeah. How much more demanding is he with you guys in the huddle and day to day?
He's been great, especially in gotta have it moments. It's kind of when you hear his voice in the huddle a little bit more, which is great. What you want to hear from a quarterback. Specifically, the one thing that comes to my mind, that last drive, he kind of said something to us in the huddle where like everything was put into perspective. Like we know we gotta go ahead and win this game. We in a position to go ahead and do so. So he's been great for us all year, and then gotta have it moments, and that shows up every single week, as y'all know. His leadership and I would say just the steps that he's taken since last year as far as maturity and things like that, his preparation, everything that he's doing day in and day out is showing up.
Did you see we've talked about his maturing and changing and developing. I mean, you guys, people that were here last year, you guys have really seen it. Where do you think he's taken the biggest leap?
I would just say preparation, and like I will always say, I'm not in the meetings with him day in and day out, but I do know, like I always say, his car is here longer, his car is here earlier. And he's always has a notebook in his hand. He's always going over something. Like he's taking his process very, very serious. And that's something that we need to do, every individual, to go ahead and kind of have the success that we want to have. But he's been great with his approach.
Thank you.
Happy birthdays.
Thank you.
Sweet. Do it.
Caleb, when you went back and watched the 4th and 8 throw to Rome,
Yep.
on tape, what was it like just kind of watching it back on tape?
Yeah, it was just a good moment. You know, end up giving Rome the right football to be able to allow him to make the adjustment. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's it.
What have you thought of the social media, like some of the memes and the
Yeah.
Jordan logo stuff?
Yeah. I've actually, I've had a couple passes like that going left, where I've ended up being in the air, in that way a few times in college and things like that, and in high school, and so it's I've been kind of used to it.
I think you've talked in the past about watching Stafford and some of the things he does. What is it in particular that you tried to pattern your game after? And have you met him? Do you know him?
Haven't met, obviously, other than last time we played. Yeah, I mean, he's at the top of the game right now, and at his age and things like that. And so that's something you can learn from. And then also just how he plays the game. You drop back and he has what everybody calls snake eyes and things like that. And just knowing defenses, knowing the offense, and being able to move people where you want to move them is something he's been able to do very well. And then trusting and believing in his guys to be in the right position at the right time. And so, learning from that is big.
What are snake eyes?
It's when you're looking at a defender, you'll move him, you'll look here, and then throw it back right behind his eyes or right behind his head. Like I say, kind of moving the defender out the way without actually having anybody near or around him.
He's very different than you are. He's not going to be doing jump man throws. Yep. But what about his footwork applies to your footwork?
Yeah, his feet are always under him. He can make any throw at any time. Guys in his face, O-lineman maybe getting pushed back, not looking, all these different things, and it comes down to his feet. He ties the routes with his receivers, the time and all of that with his feet, and obviously has a cannon. And so, being able to watch him over the years and also last year to this year, in person is it's going to be fun and enjoyable.
Sorry, there was talk after the game about Ben showing you in training camp the video of the Patriots coming back against the Falcons. And then this week I've seen video of you and all the other draft picks talking to Tom Brady about it. You were sitting right next to him. You looked very engaged in the conversation. What do you remember about that story that he was telling you about turning something like that into a great moment?
Yeah. It's about the next play. It's about the mentality when we're in the moment. It's about honestly not wanting to go out that way and getting your tail whooped and have a certain mindset, have a certain fight about you, and then it could either be one of your worst moments or one of your greatest moments. And so I think in that mindset you want to. In those moments, you want to choose to try and fight for it to be one of your greatest moments that you can have.
Caleb, DeAndre was talking about how he's noticed.
Swift.
Yes, how your preparation has kind of taken to a new level this year. I mean, do you agree with that? And also, like, the fact when you feel that prepared, how much does it free you for moments late in the game?
Yeah, it definitely frees me. The confidence and belief going into games from my preparation. And the growth from my preparation, and it's being a year in it. It's having been. It's having these other coaches and things like that have helped, and so being able to have the belief and faith in myself from my preparation going into games definitely helps, especially late in games, especially leaning back on what you study, leaning back on your training and all those small things, and so I'm going to keep finding better ways to prepare, be more efficient in my preparing so I can gain more knowledge to be able to help the team to win.
Caleb, it feels like you love pressure. I mean, what do you love about pressure and gotta have it moments?
I feel that, I mean, I think I've said it multiple times. I feel calm in those moments. I feel
my conditioning is the best in those moments. I feel that's really it. I mean, I feel that I'm the best in those moments because of what I've prepared, to be in those moments and things like that. So, for myself, it's just next play. And then when you have to go make a play, it's life or death in those moments.
Caleb, how much satisfaction have you gotten over maybe these last handful of games with some of the stuff that you've done in the fourth quarter to show people, maybe doubters, like that you are the guy that people thought you were coming out of USC?
Yeah, that's never been a worry of mine, is proving a doubter's wrong or anything like that. It's a little extra motivation. In that sense, but it's not for me to prove them wrong. I know who I am. Not everything happens within 365 days or 1 year, my first year, or even my second year or third year, whatever the case may be. So it's my mindset to be able to keep growing. It's my mindset to be able to keep that mindset of knowing who I am. Keep that mindset of, I feel that I'm the best when I'm on the field. Keeping the mindset of, I'm the best when I got the other 10 guys around me that are fighting for me. I'm the best when I got, the best coach in the world. And so being able to, have that mindset, being able to have that mentality going into the years or the weeks or the months and things like that, that's kind of how I go about it.
You look like you got a little emotional when you gave him the game ball and you said about like how much he's meant to your career. Like, what was going through your mind in that moment?
Yeah, wasn't trying to get emotional or anything. Just trying to have that moment with our coach, just because it's been a while since the Bears have been in the playoffs. It's been a while since the Bears have won in the playoffs. It's been a while, and it was versus our divisional rivalry and all of that. And so it was a good moment and happy for him as a coach and our coach, but happy for us also. So it was to share that moment. You're all good.
Sorry. Did you sense the magnitude of the moment? Like, and do you still, even as you turn the page to the next opponent?
No, I've been in some big games and things like that, and so it's in the moment you enjoy it. You treat it like another game. You treat it like a regular game, and at some point it hit me. At some point I'll look back. At some point, hopefully 10, 15 years down the line, I can look back and kick my feet up and laugh and joke about some of the things that went on. But when you're in the moment, when you're in it, you just keep trying to go on to get to the next point, the next goal until the goals are kind of ran out.
You seem to enjoy the crowd after the game, looking around and seeing people just going bananas.
Yeah.
What does that do for your appetite to keep this thing going?
Yeah, I've said many times now is I want the Bears fans to be proud to be supporting us. I want them to come to games away, home, and cheer like no other, like it's our last one. And so being able to have that moment, those are the moments that you miss and things like that when you're done. And so I try to be grateful for it. I try to take it all in the moment. And so that's what I do in those moments. The best moments are those moments when you can look up in the stands and they're rowdy, they're loving the moment, and then you go to the locker room and your brothers, your family is in there and they're all smiling and laughing and joking. So those are the moments that you live for as a player. Those are the moments that you live for as a competitor, and I would say as a leader also.
Caleb, Sean McVay said that you're going to be a nightmare to defend. Is there anything that you admire about his offenses or that you've noticed about his offenses?
Yeah, it's a top offense in the league. He has a top quarterback in the league, and when you got those two things, you can run a pretty well-oiled machine over there, and I think that's what he's done for the past every years. And so it's going to be fun to be able to go compete against them. And that team over there, they got offense, defense, and special teams. They got a bunch of really great players over there, and whether it's Hall of Fame players, whether it's just great players in the league, and also some young talent over there, it's going to be fun.
Speaking of conditioning, you mentioned how, like you did in the off season, you've hit 20 miles an hour on 5 runs this year. Like, what speed training do you do?
I do a bunch of stop and decel and acceleration. I do a bunch of longer distance kind of runs, more sprint like, not like I'm running 300 meters. Just preparing for what it's like to be able to play in a football game, and and then working on my speed and pushing myself to be able, when these moments come up and I need to get away from somebody, I can.
Do you feel like you've been more demanding of your teammates, and how much has success and the success that you guys have had this season kind of breed and raise the level of expectation?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say I've gained more confidence in the offense and knowing, exactly what and where and all these different things. And then, just the belief and trust and that I have in them to be able to do their job is paramount for us. And so, sometimes, you have to hold everybody accountable, and, I get held accountable every day, and, I want to be able to win these games and be in these big moments. And so we have to be accountable to each other. And that's one of the most important things in these big games, these playoff games, and, things like that. It's the fundamentals, the details that win you games.
You see Lil Wayne respond?
I did. I saw it. The Bears.
I did too.